There are numerous quarterbacks at Ohio State that could drastically shake up the Buckeyes quarterback competition.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
When Ohio State added Will Howard and picked him up via the transfer portal, I thought there was not going to be a QB competition. It was going to be his job no matter what. And then the more I think about it, that's not the case. Will Howard has to earn the right to be named QB1 in Columbus. Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs help find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions apply. Yeah, Will Howard, he's at Ohio State, came from Kansas State previously. He won a Big 12 Conference championship. And where are we currently right now? In the midst of another quarterback competition. Fields won the job back in 2019. Stroud won the job back in 2021. 2023, McCord won the job. And I thought at the end of last year, well, before he entered the portal, I thought, hey, he is going to be the Buckeyes quarterback in 2024. Your boy was wrong. McCord hit the portal, and then Day had to go back to the drawing board to figure out who was going to be the Buckeyes starting quarterback in 2024. You got Will Howard in here from Kansas State. He's won a Big 12 Conference championship. That's great. That's good for him. Some say he could have gone to the NFL, which is true, but I don't think it would have been a high draft pick. It would have been best for him to stay in college, which is where he is at. He's at Ohio State. Is the job automatically his? I don't think so. Is he the front runner to win the job right now? I do think so. But in all of this mess of the Buckeyes quarterbacks right now in Columbus, and it might not be a big mess, could be just a small mess, but a way to make it a big mess and to jumble things up and shake them up, if you want to use that phrase, is to look at some of the younger guys. Lincoln Kienholz, Julian Sayin, and Noland are the three guys that can drastically shake up the Buckeyes quarterback competition. Think about Lincoln Kienholz and what he has done at Ohio State so far. On the field, not much, but off the field, in the Woody, in the classroom, getting his weight up, bulking up, looking more like a collegiate quarterback, he has done that. In a year under Ryan Day, and now with Chip Kelly, another offensive mind that thinks different than Day, I think Lincoln Kienholz's athleticism, if he gets in there in the Woody during spring practice and does some amazing things, hey, Devin Brown, Will Howard, y'all are, some say, sneaky athletic. Nobody would call you just fully athletic. Well, Kienholz is a guy that can use his athleticism to shake things up. Then you got Julian Sayin. It's also, before I get there, I purposefully put these guys in that order on purpose. Kienholz is older. Sayin is the 5-star, the #1 quarterback in his recruiting class. And then Noland is in the same recruiting class as Julian Sayin, but he is a 4-star. So if people are thinking, where is Jay leaning as far as who is the most likely to shake things up, we'll get there. Julian Sayin, not going to wait any longer. But I don't think exactly I need to change the order for that. Just going to explain the order that I put out there for you. But Sayin's one of those guys. People believe, and I think it is true, that Bill O'Brien was a big reason why Sayin came to Ohio State. Now, could he go to the portal again when it opens up in the spring? Yes. Would he have to sit out a year? Some say yes, some say no. I don't truly, I do think he would, because he's already hit the portal once, even though he did not play a year of football at Alabama. He did transfer from Alabama to Ohio State. You get one free transfer. Yeah, you could try to apply for a waiver to not have to sit out, but that could actually happen. But I think Sayin's arm strength and arm talent and just really his ability to process things at an extremely quick level, I do think that right there and that combination is one that when I see Will Howard play football or when I see Devin Brown play football, they do some things that are good, but they don't really scream QB1 at Ohio State. And I haven't seen enough, really, any of Julian Sayin in college to say he screams QB1 at Ohio State. So I truly don't know. But if Chip Kelly wants to come in and realize, hey, this guy's different and wants to believe in a true freshman, he did it at UCLA at times. He can do it in Columbus too. So be it. Now, for Noland, I think the one thing he can do is, with him being a lefty, things come off of his hand different because he's left-handed. He is a southpaw. And so some people might say, oh, the ball comes out different, needs to fix it. No, bro, it might just simply be because he's left-handed. We have all seen people that play basketball. When you're a lefty playing basketball, it looks different. Also, I've watched a lot of basketball my entire life. We're in the midst of March Madness right now when basketball's on almost every day of the week. Left-handed players, most of them have perfect form every time. I'm not sure why. When I put my left arm up, it automatically goes almost to, and I can move my elbow in a little bit, but it almost goes to just instinctively to perfect form on the basketball when shooting a basketball. My right arm? No, buddy, that's work. My right elbow does not want to come in. It does not want to go up. See, I mean, like I have to force it. Now, when I was younger, and even sometimes when I was older, some say I shot like Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller got the chicken wing all to the outside, but that's what naturally happened to me. Not exactly sure why. And the same thing with left-handers. What is one thing that made Michael Vick so prolific and so elite on the football field? Him being left-handed. If he was right-handed doing all of that stuff, it would have been easier to defend. Steve Young, what made him so good, so elite that eventually he used that talent to be a Hall of Famer? He's left-handed. And so with Aaron Noland, most quarterbacks that you see at Ohio State or in college, they're right-handed, not left-handed. There aren't many southpaws out there in college football, or it's another word to describe somebody that is left-handed. I would love to see Aaron Noland out there. But when I saw him out there during spring practice, and I've seen some pictures and videos floating around, that boy's skinny. And it's not a knock on him. I'm going to come out here and say this quickly. This isn't a knock on him. That boy just skinny. And so the skinniness of his frame right now isn't a problem. I just don't think he can properly bulk up quick enough and keep his mechanics the same and improve and process at a quick enough rate to win over the QB1 title over saying Kienholz, Brown, or Howard. I don't think that's in his cards right now. Not saying it can't happen down the road, but as it stands right now, your boy does not think that's going to happen. But for saying, and I've seen some rumors, I really have not seen or heard this is actually happening, but I've heard rumors that this young man Sand is running with the ones during a scrimmage. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. Don't go out here and say no. I am hearing rumors. A show that I've watched recently was Love is Blind. My wife and I watched the entire season 6. We have watched every season together. And one thing I've heard was there's a rumor going around that, a certain scene was taped, but it was a reenactment of something that happened previously in the private off camera. And then somebody that actually was actually in that scene went on a show and said, that rumor saying that was secondhand, that was not the time that we actually talked about this very sensitive topic. That was not true. The first time we talked about it, and actually the things that actually happened was on camera. So rumors are rumors. I'm not going to say yes or no until it gets concretely reported. That's all I'm going to say there. But if Sayin gets out there in the spring game and capitalizes on the opportunity and the stage that he is on and shows everyone, and the 15th spring practice at Ohio State, I'm able to do this with the offense. That bad boy can shake up this QB competition. Now, do I think this is a positive thing or negative thing for the Buckeyes quarterback competition if some things get shaken up? I'll answer that question next as the show rolls on. This week's March Madness Bracket Highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest. Just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs, these guys were able to take it to the next level. The Arizona Wildcats can only be described as an armada. This 2-seed is as hardcore as it gets out there. So it's no wonder they took it to Long Beach State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Their favorite pick by many to make a run and beat Dayton for a chance to play in the Sweet 16 later on this week. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's so good, I gotta say it again. Right now, new customers, that could be you, you're able to get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You could even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/LOCKEDON and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on the YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Every time I think about Locked On Sports Today, I think about my childhood and the things that I wanted to get on the ESPN and the Sports Center. That's what they provide every day that you can listen to on your way to work on that drive 5 days a week. So we think about the quarterback competition at Ohio State and potentially shaking things up. One thing I would think that fans have right now is maybe a belief in one quarterback or another, that, hey, maybe this quarterback has the goods and maybe this guy does not yet, but I think he can have the goods throughout this offseason. So we all are leaning one way or another. Many people are. I don't think shaking things up is a bad thing. And I'm saying this as someone that realizes at some point this offseason, I am going to have who I think a concrete person should be, who that person should be in my eyes to win the battle, to be named QB1 in Columbus. This goes away from the way that I think things might go, but it goes towards, this is actually what's going to happen, or what I think should actually happen. I have been away in an analyst here on the show that is comfortable being wrong. And I believe every person that's hosting a podcast, or maybe you're on the television, or maybe you're on the radio, or maybe you're a sports writer, whatever your occupation is in the world of sports, you must be comfortable being wrong. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. And as a coach or a player, but right now let's look at the coach standpoint. A coach in week one named the starting quarterback for week one. Hopefully it doesn't happen the week of the first game of the year. But the coach named a starting quarterback at some point in time. And let's just say you quickly realize the better option is on the bench, not somebody who's actually on the field currently. I'm going back a little bit. I believe it was Kelly Bryant was the starting quarterback for Clemson first 4 games of a year. Actually, the previous year, I believe, played in the national championship game, didn't win it, but played in it. The next thing you know, I think that was the year that Trevor Lawrence, became starting quarterback and ended up playing, and people were saying, he could go to the league right now. We quickly realized Sunshine was good, but he wasn't a guy that was a surefire, can't-miss prospect after his freshman year of college. He needed some more polishing, needed some more work, but those are the rules. And I do think, after your freshman year, could Sunshine have gone? Yeah, he could have gone. Would have been the best for his career overall? Probably not. But Kelly Bryant was a quarterback back then at Clemson that, he wasn't a starting quarterback. Of course, you got a true freshman that's right there, best quarterback in his class, who's really, really good. But do you truly want to throw him out there into the Wolves week one against whoever the opponent was? Probably not, especially when your quarterback who's returning from a year ago got you in the biggest game of the year in college football. He got you there. And so I understand young guy, older guy did a little bit, but then the younger guy is actually better. I understand. I say all that to say this. Let's just say things get shaken up. These young guys, Kienholz, Noland, and Sayin, they start making things really difficult for the older guys, or the two guys that are kind of in the driver's seat right now, kind of as a co-pilot right now, leading the Buckeyes offense. Let's just say the young guys shake things up. Will Howard's not really comfortable. Devin Brown's really not comfortable. Nobody transfers. We get into fall camp and fall ball, and what do we find? The younger guys are actually the better option to be quarterback, but they're not going to be the quarterback because they're younger. 2 of the 3 are true freshmen. I don't believe a true freshman is going to start, but if that actually happens, look, I'll be wrong. It's okay. It's absolutely okay to be wrong when you're analyzing things. And also, if you're wrong, admit it. It's not the end of the world. Just admit it. I do it. You should do it. We've had segments on this show where Jay was right, where Jay was wrong. Yes, I know it's a segment that Colin Cowherd does on the Herd on the Fox Sports Radio and FS1. That's great. That's cool. But I believe every single person that hosts the show should say, hey, I was wrong, and here's why. It's okay to do that. It should happen all the time. So let me get back to where we were before I got rudely interrupted. Yes, these young guys can shake things up. No, I have no problem with it. The good thing, get the right guy that's going to win the job. That's great. Now, it could be a con when guys go to the transfer portal, but isn't that part of the reason the portal is here and the players push for the portal? Is that, hey, maybe we can leave and enter the portal whenever we want to. We got coaches that leave and go to new jobs all the time. How about we find a way for us to be able to go ahead and try to find a way to go from one school to the next and the next school and the next school. Why? Because we want to have the same opportunities and freedom that the coaches do. Now, do I think that they should add some guidelines and rules to the transfer portal? Absolutely. You got guys that are grad transfers. You can leave whenever you want to. You can go to whatever school. You get one free transfer. Now, the next one, if you're not a grad transfer and you've already used your one free transfer, there's a rule out there that says, hey, you got to sit out a year. Great, cool. That's the rule. Now, down the road, I think that might be removed. Do I think it's a problem? Do I think they should actually do that? Absolutely not. I do not. But that's where you are. It's not a problem if somebody goes to the portal. The way Ohio State recruits, they expect players to go to the transfer portal that shortly after getting on campus sometimes, or maybe a year or two into the process to get on the field. It's okay. And it's also okay to have younger quarterbacks shake things up. Not a problem. Not hurting nobody's feelings. It's just the way of the land. You want the best guy out there on the field. And if the older guys aren't it, and the younger guys are, shake things up. It's absolutely okay. And also, before we get out of here on this topic, I got this to say. I hope it happens. If one of these younger guys is better, I'm saying one singular, is better than the 2 older guys that are in the running right now for the QB competition, I hope they do what is needed to shake things up. Because one thing I don't care about being right. I do care about being right, excuse me. I have to alter my analysis in the way I think to be right at times to properly predict things. But one thing I want to happen, no matter what, is for Ryan Day and the other coaches to put the best 11 guys out there on offense, on defense, and every unit of the special teams. Put the right guys out there every time. That's what I would love to see. At quarterback, at running back, at tight end, O-line, don't matter. D-line, linebacker, secondary, don't matter. Put the right guy, the best guy out there every single time. And if it means you're ruffling feathers or a younger guy is shaking things up in the process, so be it. It's okay. You may lose sleep over it, and that's okay too. But put the right guy out there on the field, and if one of these other quarterbacks that are not Will Howard or Devin Brown shake things up and make you have to make a decision that you didn't think you were going to have to make, so be it. It's not the end of the world. What's also not the end of the world is a decision that Bryson Rodgers made to leave Ohio State, into the portal, and then come back to Ohio State. And the young man found some clarity in the portal, which is why he came back to play ball at Columbus. We'll dive into that next as the show rolls on. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to the professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more, and the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus carries grills that have up to 30-year warranties. That's right, a grill with a 30-year warranty. Billiards Plus carries also the best pool tables from Brunswick, Alhassan, Canada, Billiards, and more. And the grills, whether you like charcoal or gas or wood-fired, Billiards Plus has a perfect setup for all grillers. They are family-owned and operated. And when you talk to the staff at Billiards Plus, you're going to know you're talking to an expert who won't steer you wrong. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Kitty, Sarah, and the whole staff will always go above and beyond to give you the best customer service in the industry. Billiards Plus. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. One thing I want to continue to do on this show is find ways to prevent issues with the audio before they happen. Too many times there have been audio issues, and I think things are working correctly. The right buttons are clicked, and then all of a sudden there were issues. There were issues on Friday's show. I apologized, and I was like, oh, man. I realized once it was up, I was like, oh, gosh, I apologize for that. That's not how things are supposed to be on this show. I tried to get the best audio for you to enjoy 5 days a week, and today it's back to normal. When we're on the road, we get a good audio mic and setup as well. Just try to make that happen every single day. One thing I would love to happen every single day is for Buckeye players and really people in general to do things and be places that allow them to find clarity in some decisions that they're making or clarity in the position of life they're currently in. Now, this is not going to be a mental health podcast or a show that is going to be diving into the deeper things of life. I am not doing that. But one thing I do would like to do occasionally is just, hey, shine the light on some things in sports that could potentially help us in life. And Bryson Rogers was a true freshman wide receiver last year. He entered the transfer portal on New Year's Eve of 2023. He withdrew his name for the portal about 2 weeks later on January 13th. And this came after conversations with his family, Ryan Day, Brian Hartline. And through all that process, it helped him realize he still wanted to be a Buckeye. And I remember when Bryson Rogers was a player that entered the portal, that people were saying, hey, he's going to go back to this part of the country. It's where a lot of his offers are from. It's a great fit for him and all those things. And I was sitting here thinking, okay, sounds good. That's great. Because you don't normally hear about a guy entering the portal and then coming back to the school that he left to go into the portal. You don't normally hear about those things. But Bryson Rogers recently spoke about this, about why he returned to Ohio State. And I think it speaks volumes about him, the impact that coaches have on him, and his family, that they all helped out in this decision. Quote, I let God really take control of my path and take control of my faith, and just long talks with my family, long consideration with my family, and just knowing that this was the right place for me. Long talks with Coach Hart and Coach Day as well, just getting clarity in the moments in the areas I needed clarity in. And just moving forward, man, it's been nothing but the best decision in my life. Even coming here in the first place, just having that type of bond with Coach Hart now and Coach Day, and us seeing eye to eye was just a wholesome moment for me. And that's what led led to me coming back, end quote. That's huge. That's big. Think about you, 18, 19 years old, and all of a sudden you have made a decision to hop into the portal because you believe that the place where you currently are is not the place for you. Yeah, I understand you may get a little homesick. You may want to see if the grass is greener on the other side, or maybe you may want to try to figure out, hey, how can I get on the good graces, maybe, or how could I find a way to get on the field faster? That's what I was trying to figure out. That's the phrase I was trying to get out of my head. How can I get on the field faster? And some people think the way to do that is to go to the portal. Great, cool. Some people yes, some people no. But hey, if you want to go to the portal, so be it. It's your right. It's your freedom. Utilize it. It's great. No problem with it. But when Bryson Rogers decided to come back to Ohio State, I'm like, oh, okay. The young receiver, really, really talented. At the time, John Garcia was Locked On's recruiting analyst, and he was very, 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 very high on Bryson Rogers. Even Noah Rogers, who left and into the portal and is elsewhere playing college football, he was high on him, really, really high. And I was looking forward to Bryson Rogers down the road being at Ohio State. And I completely understand when you're in a class with Cardell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Noah Rogers, Bryson Rogers, I completely understand why you may say, hey, this ain't the place for me. You got older guys that aren't on the field yet, but you believe you're better than them. You got Jeremiah Smith and Mylan Graham on your heels. There's a lot of things that go into this decision. But being able to find clarity in the portal, and it comes from conversations. Now, he credits Coach Hart numerous times, but with Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, and his family helping him here, to me, that speaks volumes about the people that are around him, the coaches at Ohio State, and ultimately just Bryson Rogers, the individual. I'm happy for him, the way he was able to find clarity in the portal that, hey, all these other offers, all these other schools want me, but I think the best spot for me, best landing spot, best place for me to be in college football right now is at Ohio State. I am glad for him. Now, a thought popped into my head that I don't exactly know, but I think I have a grasp on the rule with him going into the portal, then coming back out, and really coming back to Ohio State. He did not transfer. So let's just say at the end of this upcoming year, he goes to the portal again and transfers to a new school. I believe that's his one-time transfer since he did not transfer from Ohio State. I don't know why it popped up to my head at the end of this conversation, but it did. Out of here as the words are a little slowly getting slurred together, and your boy is not under the influence of anything that would be illegal or even maybe not. I don't know. I'm not under the influence of anything, so I'm not sure why the tongues are being tied right now. I'm going to be done rambling, y'all. I'm glad to be back. Glad to have the audio back in the way that it needs to be. And I'm glad that Locked On started the first ever National Sports 24/7 streaming channel on the YouTube. And now it's also available on the Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today, it's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now, available on the free Fire TV channels app. You can follow me on X at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. Buckeye fans, out of here on a Monday. We'll see you next time.